In the Brewing Student Cultures podcast, we will cover topics of student life
from both international and Dutch perspective. A podcast by International Students Work.
Hello everyone, welcome to the International Students Work podcast, Brewing Student Cultures. My name is Alyssa.
And I'm Isabella, and today episodes we're going to talk about challenges of university life. Of course, we have a huge amount of challenges we need to overcome. They are big, they are hard, but not impossible.
Yeah, exactly. And our guest today, thank you for being here. Sanjana knows all about those challenges and how to overcome them. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm Sanjana and I'm from India. I just finished my master's in international and European law. And I did graduate last year in July, but currently I'm looking for a job to stay back in the country or anywhere in Europe. But that's a small introduction to what I am or like who I am. But today's topic is actually quite interesting because we are talking about all the challenges we face in a different country and being international and just finding your way through the country where you don't know the language, and it's quite interesting, I would say.
It is, right?
And you've been here for how long?
2 years and I think 2 months now exactly.
Okay. Oh my god, the exact time.
Yeah, and today's weather, I was actually feeling nostalgic today morning when it started snowing because when I arrived it was snowing a lot in the Netherlands. And it was like the heaviest snow Netherlands had seen in 10 years. So it was like a lot. And for me, I'm from a tropical country, India, and also from the south part, so I'm not really used to seeing snow
at all.
It was actually my first snow and I enjoyed so much the first day. And the next day...
First day.
And the next day I realized that I have to go get my residence permit from Den Bosch, and the buses were not running. And I know to bike, but I don't know to bike in snow.
Yeah. Did you have a bike by then?
Yeah, I already had a bike by then because it was like, I think 10 days or so after I came here. So I already had a bike, but then I was like, okay, there are no buses, so I have to get to the central station. And I walked in -11 for 1 hour.
What?
Really?
I actually heard about that storm, that snowstorm.
Yeah.
Like some
it was not storm or anything, but then I had to really walk because the buses were cancelled because of the freezing. So I walked and then went to Den Bosch, got my residence permit, and when I was coming back, I was like prepared to walk again because there was no buses and it was -11. And every time I tell this story to everyone, they're like, you're more Dutch than we are.
Okay, so like 10 days in the Netherlands?
Yeah.
Bang, big challenge.
You started the hard way.
Yeah, but I think it's an exceptional case because you don't get to see a lot of snow every year. Yeah. And also an exceptional case in particularly because I came right after COVID. So it was literally pandemic and like lockdown and everything. I had like my first semester from house. So it was like no socializing much and nothing. So I think that was the biggest challenge for me personally because I am a very social person. I would like to talk to people and know their life, know their culture and everything. And just sitting in front of the monitor the whole week and just not meeting anybody or just doing the online was so hard. But I think it was also good in a way because we had like the introductory session online, and I did make a few friends online when we were, because it was a small group which comes in February and not September. So I actually made the closest of friends because we used to meet every weekend and cook together, different culinary because we are from different countries.
Yes.
We used to cook and we used to hang out, and we also started censor. We also started drinking way too early because we had to get back home before 9 because it was like the 9 o'clock
Curfew.
like the curfew. So we used to start drinking, I think at 4 or so, and be like, okay, we have to do this. But kids
Student
don't do it.
life.
But yeah, it was actually quite fun to do that. I think I still have those friends in my life, and I'm really close to them, and I think I can count on them anytime. So I think it did, like, it was a challenge in the beginning, but it just turned out that it was good that you could socialize and make like the closest friends in a different country.
But
So-
I'd say that's a rare situation, you
Yeah,
know,
that
like
is.
to actually bond with people we've met online. Like, like, how was Interweek, by the way, online?
Interweek was also online. Like, we used to play a lot of games on the monitor.
Okay.
But quite interestingly, we had like really good mentors. Actually, she came to it most of the places. Like, they used to go and give them wine because we couldn't go to the groceries, like supermarkets, to do the groceries. So she just came home to give the wine.
That's so
because we were like
nice.
also like doing the quarantine back then. So yeah, it was actually quite nice. I would say my experience was, if it's also nostalgic because I'm going back 2 years before, so it's like all those experiences feels fresh in my mind, because it's also very different for me, I think, because I had not gone anywhere away from my country. So this was my first time going out of my country and living my life. And I still remember I am brought up vegetarian, and I turned vegan like 3 years ago. And for me, to read all the ingredients and just scan them on the translate, because it's the Netherlands.
You need to know what it's
Dutch.
in
All the
there.
ingredients are in Dutch. So I had a hard time in the initial days where I had to figure out which is like the store that I have to go to, what I have to do. So it's like a different perspective from what you would usually see. But it's actually quite nice if I now think about it, because I just lived a whole different me, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody knows me here. Nobody
True.
knows my background,
Yeah.
and I can just bring a lot to the table and just believe in myself and be like,
True.
okay, this is new me. I have conquered this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
That's a really
Actually-
nice way to see the situation.
And actually super funny, because I also thought about that, but like you more even so, because like nobody knows you here, so you can create like a whole new personality. That's like,
Are you saying that you're not who you...
actually, in Brazil I'm
Oh.
so different. No, what were you like in India? Did you change something or?
No, I wouldn't say like my internal personality changed or something, but it's just to be. It's nice to be anonymous, you know, in a whole country where nobody knows you. It's just nice to be anonymous. By the way, I'm talking about now the biggest country in the world, India, with the highest population. So back home, it's like people know people, and it's just like some random way people just know people. And also, like, we have to speak about how culturally different the country is
Yeah.
from what we know. So I think there are like a lot of challenges and fun ways that you can think about it. I think in the initial time, it's like how we say it's challenges, because it's hard.
Everything
You're
new.
doing everything on your own. Your laundry on your own. You're cooking on your
Groceries.
own. Your groceries on your own. And then you also have to study in between all of these.
Oh
And
yeah, you
then
need to
have
go to the
social
lectures
life.
like once in a while.
Yeah, and also like have a social life and make friends and everything. So in the initial time, I think it feels like it's so much to do. It's like a task that you always have to be this person and just do these things to just function normally. But then I think over time you get used to it and kind of have your own way of living. But yeah.
That's really
I was
nice.
gonna ask you, like, out of all of these situations that you faced so far, was there like what is, in your opinion, the most challenging?
I think you will not initially realize this when you start in a different country, because you're just hustling. You're just like wanting to be there, be present,
true.
make friends, be like good with academics as well, and also just do your day-to-day life in a proper way and do your best every time. So you wouldn't realize this is a challenge, but after a point you start realizing that you kind of miss your home, you kind of miss not being there, because it's how I always, like, when we are talking as well, I think I mentioned last time, because it's like you feel that you don't fit in anywhere, because you're still making friends here, so you don't fit in here and not fit in the culture here, and you don't fit in back home because they have a life also, then they have moved on, and you don't have contact so much, so you don't keep up to date of what is happening there. So you, also with your family and not just friends, so it's like you're there but you're not there. So I think that's like the biggest challenge that I faced after a while, because I was like, okay, what is happening, like what is my identity, sort of like, am I a person that is here, or am I the person who was there? So it's like division that you will see that, okay, I don't know what I'm missing, but there is some part of you that is missing. So I think that is one of the challenges, but otherwise I think in general in the country, I think moving was the biggest challenge.
In what way? Like the actual like physical thing, like the moving, or
like the moving as in like shifting the rooms, like, because housing, as we know, is really great. So but I think the uncertainty that comes along with that is what was very challenging and scary, because you don't know if you have a roof after a while, because the contract ends on this date and you have to find something beforehand to get into that place. So I think that part was so stressful, because it's also like ending of the year for your academics. So I was writing my thesis then, and I also had this whole of like, I don't know if I'll have a house in a few months, and I have to focus on studies, and I also had my personal life going on, and then everything just falls in the same plate at the same time, and you don't know what to deal with. You can't prioritize, and I think that is somewhere where I felt that I need to have external help, I would say. And while I was talking to my friend, he suggested that maybe you should consider going to therapy, or just asking an external help with this. And I think that was the biggest challenge, because therapy is not seen in a good way in the society, and I think it's most important for a human being to just function normally.
Yeah, it's such a misconception in my opinion. Like I see nothing wrong with going to therapy. I actually think that everybody should go to therapy, because some people need it, like everybody needs it, but like it's important to understand why you're feeling what you're feeling. And like a little bit and what you first said, like who am I, like this identity crisis. I think these challenging moments are in some ways is the perfect way to get to know who you are, and therapy is the perfect way to like understand these feelings.
And I think most of students can relate to that. It's exactly what you said. You are not from your home country anymore, but you're not a Dutch, so it's a bunch of things going on at the same time that you need to handle alone in a new culture, in a language that you don't speak. So of course you're gonna get lost, maybe have some identity, or ask yourself what you're doing, if you should be doing this or not. In therapy, it's, oh my god, the best solution, I would say.
And I think it was also convenient, because most of the universities also offer help. So I got my therapy session from the uni, because they give like 5 sessions that they analyze and everything. So I got help from there, and they did suggest that I could take external help again if necessary, but it also means that I have to think of financial ways to get that, because therapy is not cheap.
And how was therapy? Like, did it help you in any way?
Well, interesting you ask, because while I was doing the session, I didn't really feel that it was helping, or it's like doing anything, because I had so much on my plate. I was basically focusing on unloading with my therapist, so I was just like, so this has happened this week and this happened this week, I don't know what to do. And she's just listened, and she was like, okay, but why are you not taking breaks, and what are you doing to tackle this? And then I think the way she gave a structure to how to overcome it, or how to just be with myself, I think that helped in the long run, because I started using her techniques later on, where I had a bit more mind space. But I think now I realize how much it helped, because now every time I'm stressed or every time it's too much for me, I know what are the resources that I need to use to just feel a bit lighter and just be with myself and just relax and think about what I can do in the situation, than just having the anxiety and panic attacks first. So I think it really helps. Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's great. Yeah. You first talk about having so much on your plate and still having to deal with housing and finances. What do you think like it's the challenges or solutions to deal with the financial part when moving to the Netherlands? Because like also for us, new currency,
Absolutely.
we go to the supermarket, we don't know the prices. Like, is this expensive? Is this like great price? Should I buy it?
Yeah.
We don't know the supermarket itself. Like, which one should I go? So do you have any tips, any comments about it?
So I think I was doing what everybody from a different country does. Just calculate how much it is back home.
Yeah.
Just how
Convert
much is
it.
€1 in the currency you know. And then you're just like, okay, that's too expensive. Okay, this is too expensive. And you just
I'm gonna eat water today.
like, you're just gonna limit yourself so much. But thankfully, my brother actually gave me a tip on this, because he lives abroad, so he lives in Australia, and he suggested that if you want to live, stop calculating
Back
the
home.
currencies.
Yes.
Stop calculating how much it is back home. You're not going to have a life. You're not going to live how you want to. I know the few are expensive and few are not, but then if you keep like calculating the currency to back what you know, it's just going to make you feel like you can't afford anything.
Yeah.
Which can be true, because sometimes as a student it is difficult to manage all your expenses by yourself. And I did struggle a bit in the initial months, because I mean, I did have finances, but it's just that you don't want to run out of your resources so soon.
Yes.
So you just want like a
Save.
backup and like saving just so there is some emergency in the coming future. But I think in the initial time, the first, like I have to go back to my own experience where it was COVID times and I was going to be in the quarantine for 10 days. So the first instinct was to just shop everything that you would need to survive for 10 days, and then we'll think about what to do. And I think even before coming to the Netherlands, I did a lot of research, even on YouTube. I don't know why people just do not do this. It is so necessary and essential when you just look into the lifestyle of a different country. Because of course I don't know a thing or two about Netherlands when I was coming here. And then I just started watching a lot of videos and like content, and also like reading a lot of blogs of just knowing what are the things you can do in the country, what are the things that you should expect out of the country, the culture and everything. And I think I did know, I still have, I think, in my notes in my phone where the shops that you should go to in the Nijmegen, because it's like also like the secondhand shops. Like I was into thrifting a lot, I still am. So I was like all the thrift stores in the in Nijmegen that I should go to, all the cultural things that are there, like the King's Day, what people do on a King's Day here, and what is like Vedaksa. I just had like a list of things that you should look up to or just know about, and also all the supermarkets. And let me just say, I also searched what is the international store that I can go to, because I can't live without Indian food. Sorry.
Fair enough.
I needed my spices, and although I got a few spices back home, but still you can't expect it to last long. So I think that was like my first search as well, like what are the tokus nearby, and thankfully there are quite a lot.
Oh, that's great.
So I think that is how you kind of see what stores to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now living here for a while, I know which I should be going to. I think in the beginning of the month, I usually go to like Albert Heijn because it's quality, and also because I'm vegan, there is a lot of options for me. So that is my go-to. And then also Yumbo is good and Lidl is good. And then you know that when you're running out of like your budget, then you start going to Aldi. I'm not in no way saying that it has bad quality or anything.
But
no.
it's cheaper, yeah.
It's just cheaper. It's affordable for the price, and it's just like you can eat and survive out of it. And the biggest tip I would give is when you're in the Netherlands, go to the farmers market, please. It's a request.
Yeah.
Go to the farmers market
I love it.
every Saturday. It's there, and it's also like so lively, you know.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: the Dutch people are out when the sun is out, and are at the market on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Everybody is there. It's like kesalek, how they call it here. So
Kesalek.
it's like really, really good, and it's just lively to see like people of different ages just going and doing their groceries, buying flowers. It's just nice to just live. I think Saturday is my day of just taking myself out and be like, okay, I'm just gonna live my life now. So yeah, and I think it's the cheapest as well, because you asked me the tip for it. In the farmers market, I would spend about 10 euros for my vegetables for the whole week. If I were to buy that in a supermarket, I would spend 30 euros. So it's budget.
Yeah, true.
And I think it's also convenient for me to meal prep and think about what I would be eating throughout the week. I think these are tricks and tips that is helpful for students, because you know you don't have time throughout the week to think and do what you want to cook or anything. So if you can meal prep and just see how much time you can save on the weekends. So I think that's a good way as well.
Yeah, for sure. Also because most of students, of course, they come to the Netherlands. They're trying to settle things in their place with university and housing and stuff. And then maybe they will start looking for a job in the third, fourth month they're here. So until they start making some money, they need to have a budget. And yes, exactly, thinking about meal prep, going to the farmers market, thinking about what things you can save, what things you can buy and stuff. And then after a while that you understand the country, you know what's the best thing to do and how it works for you. Maybe you found a job, now you're making some money as well. Things are gonna get there. So it's a process, but of course those are great tips.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also like in the farmers market, I think you also get to know a little bit more of the community and also help the local people, you know. It's good. I also think the produce quality is better in the farmers market than some supermarkets. I love it, and the meal prep tip is like also something I'm gonna take to heart, because sometimes I'm just like buying random ingredients that I end up not using by the end of the month. Whereas like if I were to prepare something, maybe that would actually be better. And what you said about like researching before coming, I think that's also like challenges start way before you come to the Netherlands, right? Like extra, like choosing your major, because you have to see like can I practice my like in my professional field wherever I go with the current bachelor I'm going for, right? Like that is also a challenge. You said like law is something that is very different depending on the country.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how you say that and put me in the spot. Because I am actually looking for a job in my own career field, and let me tell you, it is a job in itself. Because I have not studied Dutch law. I just know the international law and European law, but it sometimes is difficult because I also specialized in human rights and migration law. So it's like I have to look into the organizations, and they don't have the openings very so often, and then I have to like look at what are the other jobs I can apply to with my career field, because a lot of the ones require you to know Dutch. I do understand and I have a conversation level Dutch, but I am not a professional at Dutch. I can't speak continuously or write a lot in Dutch. So all of those I think are like the challenges I'm facing at the moment, and hopefully there is some light at the end of the tunnel as we speak. But yeah, it's just like applications over applications that gets rejected, and then you're just like, okay, what is gonna happen next? But I think it's really good to know what your strongest strength is and what you really want to pursue, so that you have motivation to keep going, you know, even though it's like hurdle and like there is a hurdle and you just don't know, it's rocky and everything. You just know that you have the motivation, you know your end goal, and you just keep going. So I think that's what is helping me at the moment.
So choosing the right course, like imagine facing all the challenges and still hating university. Like that's a struggle.
I think liking what you study is like the biggest thing. Like it solves one of the problems that you already are facing, because you know what you're doing is what you like. So there's nothing that any challenge you can come across that will be hard for the moment, but then you will overcome it if you know why you chose it and why you're going through all of this. I think for me that was a very definite, clear-cut reason why I went through all the challenges as well, because I was like, no, this is what I chose for myself, and I have to do this because I like this. So there's nothing better than knowing that you like something and you want
do
to
it for yourself.
And you fall in love with the country as well. Like, of course, there are classes, there are small things or big things that happen, but that could happen anywhere in the world. I'd say, of course, some are specific to the Netherlands, but I don't know. There's just something about this place that makes it so much worth it, right? All the things you're going through, and like you said, like if you have passion for what you're doing, I know it makes up.
Like I think as internationals, we take it so lightly to just go to a different country and start living our whole life where you don't even know the language. It's just crazy now that you just sit and think about it, because when you start, you just like, okay, I am going to study, so it's not going to be a big deal. But there are so many things that comes with it in the bag, you know. Like, I think living in a smaller city like Nijmegen also has a lot of benefits, because you get to know the culture even more than if you were to stay in Amsterdam, for example. Because Amsterdam, everybody speaks English, so you just get along and you just don't feel like you're from a different country and you don't have the exposure of culture as much. But in Nijmegen, I feel like nobody really treats you like an international. They just start speaking to you in Dutch as soon as you enter the store and be like, okay, I don't see any difference. I think you can speak Dutch. But which I can do now. But back in the day, I was like, I don't know what you just said to me.
Sorry.
But it's really nice to just live in a small city, to know the culture and to just get to know the people. And like you mentioned, you just fall in love with the simplicity of life, you know. Dutch people are really known for their simplicity. That's one thing I've noticed, because they say it's a party, everybody is in their casuals. So it's really nice, because they just are.
I love that.
That is so true. So, do you have any tips for students moving to the Netherlands, and like the challenges they're gonna face?
I think I'm not a pro or anything, but if I have to say, or as a person who has lived in a different country for 2 years, if I have to say tips for that matter, is that just believe in yourself and just know that things are gonna get better. And I know the Dutchies can be a tough cookie, but once you crack them, they are really good, and you can be friends for a long time. So I think just research on what you actually want to study, and research on which country you're going to. I know this is like for Netherlands, but even otherwise, if you're watching this from a different country and want to pursue it for a different country, I think just know the culture a bit beforehand. I know, of course, you can't know everything on videos and blogs, and you have to experience a few things. But I think just having an idea of what it can be and what at least like what shops you need to go to do your supermarket groceries from. So I think those are like the essential ones that you will need to know. And when you get here, I think just feel free, let yourself go and just see how life takes you, because you are a different person when you're here. Nobody knows you, so just believe that things are gonna get better. I think just believe.
Nice.
That's a very heartfelt message, because I also think that for myself right now, I'm going to just say that for a long time, because you
need to believe in yourself.
Just believe. Just know that you have made a right decision and you are gonna be fine. And you're gonna make friends, you're gonna love the city, you're gonna love the course that you're doing, and you're just gonna love life again. So just believe.
Oh,
that's so
nice.
great.
I kind of want it tattooed in my forearm. I love it. Well, so today we talked about some of the many challenges that you can face when moving to a new country, but we also touched about financial life, doing research before coming here, best grocery stores to go to in the Netherlands probably. Also, how to deal with the identity crisis that you're going through, and also your professional life, your social life, how to juggle all that. And despite all these challenges, we also learned that the most important part is believing in yourself and knowing that every challenge has a solution, and there's always ways you can find help. And yeah,
I think that was
it.
Yeah, it was.
And if you don't, just eat stroopwafel.
That's also a great solution.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing so much.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure coming back to the organization through which I got help and job.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah, I hope we also helped you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching our podcast again. And stay tuned for more episodes of the Brewing Student Cultures podcast. Bye.
It's still brewing.